Yo, what's going on YouTube? This is your favorite young black entrepreneur, truck driver, all that jazz. Lion King coming to you from the yard in Gary. I just got done with a 2-day tour, so I hit Cincinnati and I'm back today. I'm about to go ahead and take some home time, spend some time with the kids, the lady, and yeah. So before I go ahead and get back to my intimate family, I want to make sure that my work family is taken care of first. I already contacted my drivers, and you guys are the last thing on my list. I know you guys have been, some people have been waiting on a video about truck acquisition, and that is this video. So this video is going to be another video in a series of videos that I'm going to be making, is trying to help people get from company driver to owner operator. If you have not watched my first one yet, it's called So You Want to Be an Owner Operator. That is going to be in the description. The link for that is going to be in the description. Go ahead, watch that video, and that video is pretty much a flow chart of how things that you need to be thinking about and understand so you can get and become an owner operator. This is about truck acquisition, aka how do I get a truck? So that's what I'm going to be teaching you guys today. The 4 different ways that you can acquire a truck. And those 4 different ways are, for those who are paying attention, those who want to take down notes and everything like that. The 4 ways is you can buy a truck, you can go out and lease a truck from like Penske, Ryder, Lone Mountain, go get whatever leasing company you can go to, go get a lease. Then you can do a lease to own through your company, such like Snyder, JB Hunt, who has trucks, used company trucks, or even sometimes brand new trucks that they are trying to get rid of, and they lease them out to people. And then there's a secret 4th option that I'm going to hold off to the end to make sure you guys are actually watching my video. So with that being said, I'm going to just go ahead and dive right into it. Not going to play around, not going to waste your time. The first way to get a truck, which is my favorite way, is to buy. You just straight out go out, buy you a truck. Now, with everything, there's good and bad to buying a truck. The reason why it's my favorite option is because, just like with everything else, same thing with a truck. When you have that title in your hand or that deed in your hand that says it's yours, it is yours. You have the most freedom amongst anybody else in your peer group. So when you own your own truck in this trucking industry, you have an unparalleled freedom to do whatever, whenever you want. So when you are paying notes and leases and stuff like that, you are theoretically going out to work for somebody else to make sure that you can pay somebody else. But when you own your own, you have to pay the bare minimum just to keep things up. So for example, when I started off back in 2017, I was leasing this truck, and I was leasing, I'll show you because I'm at the yard. I was leasing this truck and that trailer. For that, before I even started my truck every week, I had to come up with $1,400 to pay for this truck, that trailer, insurance, and some other expenses. Now that I paid this truck off, paid that trailer off, and then acquired that trailer, I don't know if you can see it, but yeah, acquired that trailer that I'm hooked up to, now my expenses is only down to $600 a month. So for one truck, 2 trailers, it's about $600 a week. $600 a week. So, I save almost $700 a week just by owning my own equipment. And yeah, some people say, well, I pay that high note or whatever, but what about maintenance? You telling us, what about maintenance? What about maintenance? You got to think about it. If there's no truck out here that should be on the road where you are incurring $700 of maintenance expenses a week. Like, let's calculate that. So $700 a week. 1 second. Oh, sorry. So there's no way 700 times 52. So there's no way that you're coming up with $36,400 in maintenance expenses a year. So even if you do have a truck that's high maintenance, like right now, I'm in a high maintenance part of this truck's life cycle because a lot of the original parts are starting to get bad, so I'm replacing them as I go along. I'm being preventative with it. You're still not going to get near $36,000 for the year unless you get an overhaul. An overhaul is about $36,000. So an engine overhaul, a full out of frame, they rip the whole engine down and put it all back together with new parts, is about $36,000. in this truck. This D12 engine is about $36,000. So you save so much money, you gain so much financial freedom, and you get so much of your own time back, and you're able to make better decisions as far as like what loads you want to haul and what loads you don't, because you don't have to necessarily worry about cash flow to pay people that are tapping your pockets and pulling money out your pockets every single week so you can have this truck. But with that being said, I already mentioned the con of ownership, and the con of ownership is just simply you are responsible financially for everything. If you need a tow, if you need batteries, if you need tires, if you have a blowout, need a roadside repair, anything revolving in this truck falls on you. And so with that, the good and bad to it is that because everything falls on you and you are solely responsible for your truck, you can come up with a superb maintenance schedule where you don't necessarily have to worry about so much stuff. Thanks to God, I've only had one roadside repair, and that was because on that trailer, once I bought it, one of the brake chambers locked up, so we had to get a roadside repair because it locked up as he was in the bagging in the dock. So we had to get him out of there. Ended up having to buy 2 tires, but everything else, pretty much. Oh, and I'm sorry, the truck got towed twice because of one time it broke down on the expressway, one time it wouldn't start at a truck stop. But pretty much a lot of my stuff, unless it was like something major where, like when the truck broke down on the expressway and broke down at the truck stop, those are major things that just had catastrophic failures. But when you come up with that good maintenance schedule, you don't necessarily have to worry about all of the worst case scenarios. There's a lot of things that I have caught in the yard before I even booked loads for this truck because I have a good maintenance schedule. I know how to maintain and look at different parts of my truck. I know different sounds, and I know when I need to take my truck in. And that all just takes research. So that's the biggest con, is that if you are not mechanically inclined, if you don't know too much about trucks, the biggest con of ownership is that you're going to have to come up with your own maintenance schedule. And the better you maintain your equipment, the better it's going to maintain you. So i.e. is going to keep going out here and making you money hassle-free and not having to worry about the truck breaking down every couple minutes because you know that your truck is maintained. So that brings you peace of mind as a driver, or it brings you peace of mind as the owner of the truck, knowing that your driver can go out there and do his job safely without having to worry about doing tricks just to get the truck moving. So that's pretty much what buying a truck is. The pros is it gives you so much financial freedom where you can pretty much operate and do whatever you want with your truck, and you have more, you have the ultimate say-so in everything that goes on in your company. But the con is that you are financially responsible for everything, and that you have to come up with your own maintenance schedule and stay on top of everything, including plates, DOT inspections, tires, all that stuff all falls on you. But again, that comes with its own benefit. So that's buying a truck. Second option is you go out and you lease a truck. You lease a truck from Penske, Rioter, some national lease company, whatever. You go lease your truck. The thing that you need to know about lease, the thing that I just learned about lease, is that when you lease a truck, you are theoretically taking a cash loan from a financial institution, and that financial institution is paying the truck rental or truck leasing company for your truck. And when you make those lease payments, you're paying back that financial institution. So even if your financial institution that you're renting, that you are getting this loan from, is the company itself, you're still paying back a cash loan. Remember that. When you lease a truck, you are paying back a cash loan. A cash loan. So the reason why I'm trying to emphasize that you're paying back a cash loan is because, just like with a mortgage and everything else, if anything happens to that truck, you, for whatever reason, you are always going to be responsible for making that truck payment until you have paid back the amount that you have borrowed. So if you borrow, let's say you lease a truck for $10,000 a year for 3 years, so that's $30,000, and you only use the truck for a year and a half, you're still responsible for coming up for the last $15,000. Even if you don't want to drive I don't want to do trucking no more, you're still responsible for that $15,000. Even if you give that truck back, even if you take that truck back and say, hey, take it, I don't want it, I don't want no parts of it, you still have to come up with $15,000, but you just turned in your only source of income to acquire that $15,000. So that's the biggest thing that I want to hammer into you guys, that when you take out a lease, you're technically taking out a cash loan, and you are responsible for paying back that cash loan. So the pros to leasing is that the maintenance stuff, as far as like all the older parts that I'm saying I would replace on my truck, worrying about engine overhauls and stuff like that, you don't have to worry about, because guess what? When your truck craps out or your lease is up, you just turn the truck in and you get another one. You don't have to worry about the long-term maintenance that us that own equipment has to worry about. You don't have to worry about engine overhauls and nothing like that. Only thing you got to do while you're leasing a truck is pretty much keep up with the maintenance. And depending on your lease agreement, there's some lease agreements where they take care of everything, so you pay a little bit more, and there's some lease agreements where you take care of everything, and you pay a little bit less. And when I say everything, is primarily just routine maintenance. So like tires, you might take care of brakes, you gotta do your oil change and stuff like that, but you don't have to worry about anything major like the transmission, the engine, the fifth wheel. All that stuff is not your responsibility. I will say the tip that I can give you for leasing is that if you do decide to lease, make sure you read the entire lease agreement. Do not sign, do not do anything, no matter how much of good of a salesman that you have. Do not do anything regarding signing that lease until you have thoroughly read it over. And even if you need to bring a lawyer or have a lawyer look at it, do that, because once you sign it, you are responsible for whatever is in that lease agreement. And if you do not agree with that lease agreement, do not take the truck. Be patient, be humble. If you cannot find something, a leasing company that has the terms that you want, just keep looking and start talking to truck owners who might have a truck that's just sitting up that they're not using, that they wouldn't mind leasing out. So that's the biggest thing that I can tell you, because that's the biggest negative for me, is that even if I'm not working, or even if I don't want that truck no more, even if I don't want to do trucking no more, I'm still responsible for those payments. That's a big no-no for me. That's something that I just cannot do, because life is too hectic, and I don't want to be stuck with paying back that loan even though I'm not using the truck no more. But the pros, like I said, the pros are typically when you're leasing, depending on your leasing agreement, which is a vague, I'm talking about very vague things, because each lease agreement is going to be completely different. From what I'm hearing and what I've witnessed, is going to be completely different. But typically with leases, when you're leasing, if you have a breakdown or something like that, they have resources to help you get back running, or they can even loan you another truck while your truck is broke down. Whereas if you own your own truck, and like, let's say if you're like me in the beginning, where you don't have a rental agreement set up where you can go rent another truck while your truck is down, that means that you're just going to be sitting there. So when you lease a truck, that gives you immediate access to resources that you did not have to work and get on your own. So that's definitely a plus for leasing. So that's that. And now that's going to transition to our number three. Our number three is you're doing a lease-to-own through a company. This is the number one thing that I would strongly not suggest. Do not do a lease-to-own through any company. The reason why I'm saying this is because the whole thing about trucking, the whole thing about running your business, that you need to be able to run your business. Even if you are running under somebody else's authority, you are still your own boss. So the reason why I'm saying leasing a truck through a company like Snyder, JB Hunt, whatever, the biggest problem that I have with them, with me talking to other people that are actually doing this, is that you do not have the freedom to leave if you want to. So why is that an issue? It's because let's be honest. If there's a company truck and there's an owner operator, they're both sitting right next to each other, both waiting on a load. Who is that company going to give that load to first? They're going to give it to the company driver, which is fine. That's to be expected. However, the problem kicks in where with these mega carriers, they already have their drivers waiting hours or even days for loads. And so if their drivers are waiting hours and days for loads, how long do you think you're going to be waiting for those loads? And the biggest issue is that if you are not going out and making the money that you need to make to maintain that truck, then you cannot take that truck and go make money. You cannot just say, okay, I got my truck through JB Hunt, or I got my truck through Snyder, and I'm going to take this truck and I'm going to go start my own authority, or I'm going to take this truck and I'm going to run under Landstar or run under whoever else. You don't have that option. If you don't want to do that, if you don't finish your lease through them, you have to give the truck back. And what did I tell you about option number 2 about leasing the truck? You are still responsible for those payments. You are taking, like literally Snyder has a financial part of it where you lease these trucks from, and they give you that loan, and you are forced to pay back that loan even if you fail as an owner operator. And the reason why you might fail as an owner operator might not be because of you. It might be because they don't have work to feed you and keep you running and making the money that you need. So I'm not saying that's a guarantee. I'm not saying that all the time is always bad, but I'm just saying that when stuff like that does happen, for you not to have a safe way out, that to me is just a bad, that's just, to me, is just a bad thing. Because if you were going to lease, you could go out and lease a truck through a leasing company, or go out and buy a truck and still, lease on to Snyder. So what I'm saying is, you don't go to Snyder and get your leased truck from Snyder. You can go to a different leasing company, or you can go out and buy a truck and still take your truck that you have control over, and then you can bring it on to that carrier. You don't have to get your truck through that carrier. Like, yes, it can be streamlined because you're just dealing with that carrier and they take care of everything. From what I hear, when they give you a settlement, everything is already taken out. The truck note is already taken out. I'm sorry, the truck payment is already taken out. Any fuel you use is already taken out. Your tolls is taken out. You just got to get the truck, and then they upfront everything. And then out of what you make, they take that, they get reimbursed that at the end of they get reimbursed that on your settlement. So yes, it can be a lot easier, and yes, it does take a lot of headache out, but the thing is that you have no escape route. And if you do need to escape out, there's nothing that is keeping you, there's no safety net for you in that. So I would strongly unsuggest this. But some pros to just getting your truck from the company is that, like I said, they upfront everything. So even if you don't have money in the pocket now, they upfront everything and they just take it out your check. So whatever you get out of your check is your money. They already took out your truck payment. They already took out your fuel. They already took out your tolls. They already took out your maintenance. Because if you're leasing a truck from them, you can go to their shops and get your truck maintenance, and then they'll just bill it to your settlement, and they'll just take it out your settlement. So you don't have to have upfront. The only upfront money that you have to have is the starting capital, and that's the down payment for that truck. Yeah, and that's pretty much all it is. Lease to own through companies. The name is in itself, Lease-to-own. So you're going to do a lease. So theoretically, what a lease is like you are saying, I'm going to rent this piece of equipment for this amount of time. And then what they're saying is, okay, if you lease this equipment for this amount of time, when you reach this amount of time, we will give you the option to buy. So pretty much, like, let's say if you do a 3-year lease-to-own agreement, that means for 3 years, you're going to be renting this unit. You're going to be paying this money towards this truck. And then at the end of it, you're still going to have to come up with, X amount of dollars to pay the truck off. You get it? So like, let's say if the truck is worth $50,000, right? Or just for simplicity's sake, we'll say the truck is worth $50,000. You do 3 years at $10,000. So by the end of your lease is $30,000. You already paid $30,000, right? 30 plus thousand, because they're obviously not going to just charge you the bare minimum to pay the truck off. So it's going to be 30 plus thousand that you've already paid. At the end of those 3 years, you still have to come up with an additional $20,000 to pay that truck off. And if ownership is what you're looking for, and that's the reason why you're doing a lease to own, look back at what I said for option 1. You want to be able to pay that truck off within 1 year. Like, have a title clean in your hand on the 365th day. Get a title put right in your hand. And that reason being is because you want your return on investment. So you want to be able to take that truck after you've finished paying it off and go out and make all your money back. So after fuel, after maintenance, after everything is said and done, you have made your money back off of that truck. This truck, I have done that. I have made my money back off of this truck. And then with the money I made back off this truck, obviously I'm putting back in it because I like this truck, structurally and cosmetically, it's a really good truck. It's just, it's an older engine and stuff like that. So I'm reinvesting the money, but still, the whole thing is you want your 100% ROI, return on investment. And so that's why I said lease to own through a company, especially through a company. Lease to own somewhere else, maybe. I already told you what lease to own is and what leasing is. But if you lease to own through a company, that's, to me, the biggest no-no. Do not do a lease to own. Do not do a lease to own. Do not do a lease to own. Please don't do no lease to own. And then that leads me to my secret option 4. My favorite option 4. And that is, you can rent a truck. The same way you can go rent a car from Enterprise, you can go rent a truck. Now, why would you go rent a truck to start off being an owner operator? Well, I'll tell you why. Because when you rent a truck, you can keep it indefinitely. Just because you say the word rental does not mean that you are required to turn it back in. You can do an indefinite rental. Like the truck that I spoke on for my Amazon Relay for Carriers video. That truck was an indefinite rental. I had that rental from July. Was it July? Yes, from July all the way until I just turned it in on the 12th. Let me not lie. The 12th, 11th, 10th. So the 10th, January 10th. And the only reason why I turned it in is because I'm not using it no more, but coincidentally enough, the owner operator that I'm bringing on is actually going to pick that truck back up, and that's going to be his truck. But that's going to be a different video. So the reason why I'm saying renting is pretty good is because that gives you your ultimate mesh, your beautiful mesh between leasing and owning a truck. And the reason why I'm saying it is because of this. When you rent a truck, they take care of all the maintenance. You don't have to worry about nothing. I blew 3 tires on that truck since I've had it, and have been able to take it to a TA or Petrol or whatever truck stop I was near at the time. Go get that tire fixed, and it did not cost me anything. It did not cost me anything to get those tires replaced. PMs, all on them. Routine maintenance, all on them. When the truck broke down, like, let's say the batteries had froze. The batteries recently froze when the weather dipped down to Chicago, and we had like that below zero weekend. Batteries froze. They came out and put brand new batteries in it, all at no cost to me. You know, I paid like $900 a week for the truck, and that's including miles. And they take care of everything. I don't have to worry about plates. I don't have to worry about the IFTA stickers, which is the fuel tax. Don't have to worry about the fuel tax. Don't have to worry about anything for the truck, paying for anything for the truck. And then the reason why I said it's just like is a better version of a lease is because even though the truck is not mine and I'm giving them this money, that obviously for $900 a week, I can go out and go buy me another truck. If I can I can go buy me another truck. However, the reason why I say it's good is because when I'm done with the truck and I don't want it no more, I can just give it back. I don't have to worry about keeping up with the payments and stuff like that, because if I'm done with it, because I did not take out a loan. I pay weekly, same way that you would do for a lease. I pay weekly, except I'm not forced to keep this truck longer than what I want to keep it for. Whenever I want to turn it in, I just drop it off. For instance, I told them, like, I was courteous enough to tell them, like, ahead of time, like, hey, I'm going to be dropping off this truck on Saturday. I gave them about a 2-day notice, and I just went and dropped the truck off. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Like, the last time I dropped the truck, I dropped off before that one. You know, I just dropped it off at night, and I called them in the morning and say, hey, I just want to let you know I dropped the truck off. You know, you have freedom in that aspect to where you can take this truck and you can kind of do whatever you want with it. You can't really do anything towards the interior, but you can still have enough freedom and flexibility with it enough to where you can kind of do whatever you want with it, as far as like whether you want to be an owner operator, whether you want to be lease on to somebody. You know, you have those 2 options at least. And then if you're tired of it and trucking is just not for you, just give the truck back and that's it. As long as you have kept your payments up to date with that truck, then there's nothing for you. There's nothing at all. So with that being said, you know, my favorite option is obviously go out and buy a truck. If you feel like you can do yourself, keep up with the maintenance on the truck, come up with your own maintenance schedule, go out, buy you a truck, be great. That's the best option. Make sure you pay that truck off within 1 year. That is your best bet for financial freedom and maximizing your profits and your income when you first get started as an owner operator. If you decide to lease, like let's say you want to lease because you want a newer truck and you just feel comfortable in a newer truck. You don't trust yourself to do the maintenance and stuff like that. You just want a newer truck. That's fine. Just make sure, just do me this favor and please make sure you are reading the fine print. Make sure you're reading the fine print. Read the fine print. And if you need to, have a lawyer come in, read it, and explain everything to you and make sure that you are 100%, you know 100% what you are responsible for. And if you do need escape out, what is your way out of that contract? Is there a buyout or is there anything that you can do to get out of that contract if you don't want that truck no more? You need to make sure you have an escape plan. Then if you decide, okay, well, I want to lease, but I'm going to lease through Snyder because they're giving me the best deal. Again, I strongly disagree leasing through a company, through like a mega carrier like Snyder or something like that. I strongly do not recommend doing that. Like, yes, they'll shine these brand new trucks in front of you and say this is yours, but I would say do not do it because it's just, there's no escape for that. And even if you do get into it, make sure you do find some way that you can get out of it where you are not stuck with a payment for the rest of the lease term. Because once you stop working for them and you turn that truck in, you in your normal job is still going to be responsible for paying that truck note. If your truck note is $3,000 a year, $3,000 a month, you're still going to be responsible for paying that $3,000 a month. And then if you're going to rent a truck, that's a good option for those who are scared, who feel like they don't know how to maintain a truck. Or let's say if you're one of these people out here who get your CDL you had your CDL for 2 months and now you feel prepared, you feel strong enough to go become an owner operator, go rent a truck. Renting a truck is way better than lease because, like I said, when you're done with the truck and you don't want it no more, you just give it back. If you go out and you go buy you a truck, turn the rental back in. That gives you your ultimate freedom. Even though, not ultimate freedom, but that's your second best freedom to owning a truck, because you can give it back whenever you want, and once you get that truck, you can kind of have freedom to move around with it how you want, how you see fit. So it's been a long enough video. It's been 27 minutes. You seen it get dark. I'm starting to look like a locked character on Mortal Kombat. So with that being said, I love you. I believe you can do anything you put your mind to as long as you just reach your hand out and grab it. This is LK signing off. Please, if you have not already, go ahead, subscribe to my channel. Hit the bell somewhere over here if you can see my colored fingertip. Hit the bell that's going to be somewhere over here or over here, so that way you know when I'm making another video. I hope this video has helped out enough people and it was worth me doing. If you have any tips about truck acquisition or how to get a truck or even good places to lease a truck from, go ahead, please put it in the comments. Let's help each other get out here and get better and become our own boss. That's what this whole channel is about community, helping community, and everybody trying to succeed in what their goals are. So with that being said, I'm tired. I'll go ahead and sign off. Peace and love. Peace.